In regards to setting up, yeah, like I say, I took inspiration from yourself, David Feeder. I had a look on Gamma's website one time as well, and you know how it is with the crypto game. Don't trust, verify. So I decided to have a look into ETH staking and how people stake on ETH, and you know, came across things like ETH Docker. You know, looked at all the information on the Geth website in terms of you know, how to get that running, Lighthouse, etc. And you know, I made the decision that I wanted to run two particular clients, which is Geth and Lighthouse. There are reasons behind it, but we don't need to get into that. And I wanted to run Docker because looking at your scripts and looking at David's was a lot easier for me to understand in terms of what's working. I'm not too great in terms of using Linux, so you know, I know that the script's automated, but it was more in terms of like, if anything's going wrong, like how can I address things and understand things from my point of view, rather than being able to reach out to the community and get help from them. Because you know, sometimes in this crypto game you have to be independent, and you need to learn, because as I say, you can't trust people in the game. You don't know what kind of tricks that they may be trying to play. So you know, I decided, you know, I was going to do a Docker setup. I was going to use Geth, and I was going to go Pulse and go Lighthouse, and I did it all from scratch, to be honest with you. You know, learned all the commands that I needed to input in, and was able to set it up that way. And I found it more fun and challenging in doing that, because you know, errors happened here and there, and it gave me more knowledge, so that in the future, if for some reason something happens to the validator, I may have a better knowledge of being able to fix it. So yeah, like I didn't use anybody's script, but you know, I looked at everybody's, and I looked at information out there to decide what to do was best for my scenario.
Yeah, I mean, just on that too, I think that I've heard that before. Like, a lot of people don't want to use scripts because they want to go through each line and understand how it works. And that's why I'm glad we have people having with guides. You know, David Feeder's got a, you know, basically
I praise all you guys with the guides and the scripts, because if it wasn't for you guys with the scripts, I wouldn't have had anything to read and understand in terms of what I needed to do to get the process done. So, you know, I appreciate you guys.
Of course. I mean, that's the beauty of it, is having multiple people doing it different styles. Some people, for me, for example, I prefer, I don't, you know, I already have like a, you know, I've been working in tech for a long time. I have this background and all that. So for me, it's like, I really don't care about much how it works. I can figure it out on my own later if something happens. I just want like /go, run a script and do that. And then DipSlayer script is like this whole, all these commands and different options and stuff, which is amazing. And then the guides
I did come across it, but I'd already got things dialed in pretty much when I came across DipSlayer's script. But his is yeah, it's advanced. That one is. It's got a lot of work put into that one.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's I mean, so his is more of like, okay, flexibility. So I would describe his as, you know, there's different, and you know, he provides all the bells and whistles when you restart it. It's got, you can set up a terminal to look at all the different status and information stuff. It's fantastic. I honestly just prefer mine. I mean, it's mine. I guess I'm a little biased too, but I prefer mine. Just, I barely even look at my validator stats. You know, yeah, I wasn't even that interested in looking at the Grafana stuff. I was like, yeah, I know other people want to set this up. So
it's cool
yeah,
to have them.
Yeah, it's cool to have, but I'm trying to think, I think yesterday. So, okay, how do I monitor my validator? So I run my stuff in the cloud, so I'm not worried about like any power outages or anything like that, or bandwidth issues. So basically every week or two, I just look at, I go on Beacon Explorer, I got pulled up here. I go on the Explorer, and I just, you know, my public key is there for one of my validators, and I just look at it and I'm like, okay, it still says active, cool, everything's running. I look at, you know, make sure it's doing the automatic withdrawals, all that's cool. And then that's about it. That's how I know it's running. I don't look at Grafana. I don't look at my estimated payouts or anything like that. If I want to see, I do look at my fee address. You know, I look at my fee address to see the balance, just to see how much is going in. And I look at my withdrawal address to see how much I made so far. But I only do that like every week or two. So it's really hands off. I mean, for me, it's like, I don't need all the extra stuff, but people who like it, you know, will use DipSlayer's script. People who want to be more hands off, they could use mine, or either one. And then if you really want to learn how to use Docker, how to use Linux, how to use stuff like that, you can go through the guide. David's got a list of commands, and to go through each one. And Gamma, the same thing. I learned a ton from Gamma before I was able to put together a script.
Gamma and David are very similar, but David's using Prism, whereas Gamma will tell you for all.
Right. So yeah, everyone has got their favorite client. So that's what I love about having, Huddle Dog's got a guide too. I left that out the other day when I never
saw Huddle Dogs. Yeah, I didn't see Huddle Dogs at the start, but I have seen that he's got one now. Yeah, I saw it on his website.
I saw because I added it.
You've got it linked on your GitHub as well. Okay.
I do. Yep.
Yeah.
Where is it? Huddle Dog. Yep, right here.
Yeah, so, I didn't see Huddle Dog having one at the time when I first started, but yeah, I know that he had one now.
Yeah, so Huddle Dog's got one. So anyone who whatever you prefer, like it's better to have more than one option. I'm glad I don't have the only script. I'm glad it's spread out. The guides and scripts are spread out for different people because people can choose which process they like, which method of checking on it. Some people like to look at it every day. I'm sure. I don't. So I like my script because it's simple, straightforward, and don't need to do much. And this used to say the original license plate.
Oh, I didn't spot you've changed that.
I got a meme guy who I'm like, just go make some stuff about validating. And he found this one. I'm like, that's my favorite one.
No, I hadn't seen that one. Back to what you were saying in regards to how you just check on the beacon chain, make sure you're getting payouts, etc. Pretty much I do the same. Like you say, it's nice to have the Grafana. I don't need to be there checking it daily. To be honest with you, I push all the Grafana. I have the Grafana running on a separate system from the validator, so the stats are pushing over to a Raspberry Pi, and it's not really been running very well lately. So I don't really have much access to the stats other than when it's feeling happy to look at. But at the beginning when the network launched and, I was putting out a lot of tweets in regards to being a validator, a lot of people would say, oh, it's a full-time job, this, that, and the other. And it's just, I barely need to look at it. And to tell you the truth, this is the way how I monitor my validator. If you're familiar with computers and such, sometimes when they're doing processes, etc., you might get something called coil whine. And funnily enough, my validator does coil whine. And, as long as I walk in the room and I can hear the coil whine occurring every couple of seconds, I know the machine's working okay. I mean, it could be a fan, but I think it sounds like coil whine. It used to sound very similar when I was doing the GPU mining. So I don't really need to even check anything. But if you're new to this, you probably should be checking your validators, whether that's daily or whatever time period you want to do is up to you. But you want to be checking them because things can happen. And, I'm in the UK here, and we've got good infrastructure, good electricity. And, I had a power trip a couple of weeks ago, and it gave me quite a little bit of a problem in terms of the machine shutting off abruptly and causing database corruption. And, for some, this might be a difficult thing to be able to repair, and they might have to, resync the whole chain again and spend a lot of time doing that and losing rewards. So I would highly recommend for people out there who are new to this and doing validators, don't take risks. And if you can, make sure you're using a UPS, because you don't want to go through the hassle that I went through. And, I'm not so much bothered about the rewards. It was, the stress of trying to get the system back online and get it back online quick and efficiently and not cause a problem. And as I said to you earlier, my Linux knowledge isn't the best, but I got it done. And somebody's just commented in the chat, UPS is a must. So for any of you out there and you want to not get problems like me, then make sure you run a UPS. But I wouldn't be a pleb if I wasn't doing it without. So the risk is all on my shoulders.
Yeah, that's one advantage. I went back and forth on Twitter a few times too, and been on stream answering questions. But the trade-offs between running it on a VPS, getting it co-hosted somewhere or hosted
VPS
versus
is a
at
good
home.
way.
Yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons. I mean, you can talk about decentralization, you can talk about the not having to worry about utilities or bandwidth, but it's definitely not the cheapest option. So I understand most people probably should run one at home, I guess, or if for their situation, they're more likely to. And I'm even looking for a cheaper VPS and cloud myself because I'm like, I know, again, I believe the price will go up over time and it won't matter. But in the short term, even I'm like, I love AWS, but man, you guys I feel like there's a cheaper option here. But the thing I don't worry about, the reason I'm so lax with it, the reason, I don't have UPS because I don't need one because I have it, hosted.
You have it on the VPS, yeah, of course.
So I'm never worried about uptime. I'm never worried about any of that unless something literally on the system breaks, which that's why I tell people, hey, when you set it up, use a clean system. Don't run. I mean, I wouldn't run multiple programs or different. Somebody asked me the other day about running the Teller Oracle validating type stuff on the same server. I'm like, I wouldn't do it. I would do 2 different servers just in case, there's some kind of problem, resources, all that stuff. So
if you want to keep things secure, it's the best thing, to be honest with you. And how secure you want to keep your validator is up to you, but I wouldn't advise running anything else on it, just in case.
Yeah. And then running at home, like security part of it is like, if you run at home, I recommend like using either the guest network or a whole separate router, a different network.
Router is the safest way for sure.
It's the easiest. You just plug it in and just make sure it can access the internet. And now you have a physical separation. The reason why is because of someone, if your validator, probably never happened, but if it ever did get hacked or otherwise people had access to it that you didn't want to, it's possible to, move onto and start attacking your other devices on the network. You don't want to have your validator on the same network as your home computer and your crypto wallet and all that stuff too. So that's why VPS cloud is completely separate network. You don't have to worry about it. You're not going to get DDoSed. It's not going to affect your network. The service provider is going to have to worry about all that stuff, at the basic level.